We are here. I know it's been a good little minute, but I'm here. We are here. This is watching the replay. This is a recording. For you, for those who are watching it after the live. But hope everybody's doing well. I know I am. It's February 1st. First day of Black History Month. Shout out to all my black people that's in the struggle, the ancestors, Foundation of Black Americans, those descendants of slaves in this country, But anyway, hope everybody's doing well. To you and yours, all that good stuff. January was a rough one for everybody. The beginning of 2023 was crazy. So I know it's been a little minute for me. I be in and out of these things, I'm real busy, y'all. I've been really trying to get a lot of stuff laid down, get a lot of stuff handled, and things like that. So trying to make it happen. But I decided to come on here today, just talk to the people a little bit, because people ask me questions, as I always say. People always ask me questions about Virgo men, about what's going on, this and that. And I've been trying to get to the sessions that I be doing with people. So every now and then I get a little filled up. I just want to go in here and talk about it a little bit, if that's all right with y'all, all that good stuff. So I am Jay Whitfield Inspired right away, So anyway, what's the topic of the day? I want to talk about what's good in this cocoa in the building. I want to talk about why Virgo men are so indecisive, and why they want to know everything about you. Yes, why Virgo men are so indecisive. And if you didn't know, Virgo men are very indecisive. It may come as a shock to some of y'all, it may not. But and at the same time, they want to know a lot about you. But I'm gonna handle each of those, one by one. So let's talk about the indecisiveness. This is a bad trait that Virgo. I'm looking at my computer over here. Indecisiveness is a bad trait that Virgo men have, right? Very, very bad. Because indecisiveness, you can't get anywhere, you can't make no decisions, you can't really do anything if you're indecisive. But we don't like to admit that. I know I don't like to admit it, but I do admit it. We become indecisive because we have so many things on our mind. We become indecisive because we're trying to figure out the best plan of action to have, or the best plan of action to go, or the best route to go. We always come down to two decisions we're trying to make, and then we can't decide because we're trying to break it down to the minute detail of which one of these two things, it can be anything, is the best for me, is the best route, and things like that. And our minds become filled with questions, analytics. Y'all see that? You see that meme that goes around sometimes with that white lady with all these numbers and calculations be going across her face? This is how Virgo men are with everything. Especially when we got to make a decision about something. We run calculations in our head. It's horrible. And sometimes we can't make a decision because we want it to be so perfect and so right. Like on one end, Virgos are very great decision makers. Believe it or not, they're very great decision makers. They're very great thinkers, and they're very great people to have on your team. However, sometimes they can get overwhelmed with the very thought of making a decision because they want it to be perfect as possible, and if it's not perfect, they freak out. So you may find, if you meet a Virgo man, you may find that he's very indecisive. Like, why you can't make a decision? Why you taking so long? Oftentimes, Virgos will tell you to hold up, I'll talk to you later, or let me call you back, or give me some time to think about it, because they have to think about it. They are not, in my opinion, some are. I would say some of them are not great on-the-spot thinkers when it comes to having to make a big decision. Now, if it comes down to something bothering them, or they're in some type of jam, then they can think quick on their feet like that. But just say they buying a car or something like that, it's gonna take them a long time to make their decision between the car, what car, this car, that car. It's gonna take them a long decision to make a big purchase. It's gonna take them a long time to make make a long decision. It would take them a long time to make a good decision on, just life issues and things that go on in life. However, most of the time, when they do make a decision, it's a good decision, because it is well thought out. The decision ain't the problem. It's making the decision that's the problem. Okay? These guys, they got to make the decision. They got to get to it. This is why Virgos need a woman in their life that helps them with these things, because like the Bible says, woman is a help me. Woman supposed to be there for your help and things like that. So this is why Virgos need a woman that's intelligent, who can help him think through stuff, calm him down. But hey, relax, think about it, relax, make a decision. It's gonna be all right. You got this, that type of thing. Because Virgos can spin himself out in a tailspin and get into depression just off simple things. Everybody else is like, yo, make a decision. But they are very intelligent though. They are very intelligent. See, they like to have time. These guys, they like to have time to think about what they're gonna do. So this is what you don't want to do. If you're dating a Virgo like a Virgo, don't put him on the spot. Don't do that, because you're gonna freak him out. Okay. I don't like people put me on the spot, and this is what I mean. Maybe put him on the spot with people, friends, family. Maybe like, just say you dating a Virgo guy and you want him to meet one of your best friends or something. Just one of your friends. But you want him to meet this friend within like 10 minutes or like 5 minutes, And you're like, hey, my friend Susie, she's coming up, or she's on the phone or whatever. I want you to meet her. That's going to freak him out, because he's like, wait a minute, what? He don't have time to think about it. However, if you're like, yo, my friend Susie, tomorrow, I want you to meet my friend Susie. Now it's okay, because now he got time to think about it. Now he got time to prep. Because you got to understand, these guys are introverts. They are extreme introverts, and some of them have social anxiety sometimes. So meeting new people quick and on the spot like that, it's not good for him. Now he can do it. If you do it to him, he's gonna perform well. He's gonna do it. He's gonna, hey, how you doing? I'm Jonathan, da 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 da. But he don't like it, because Virgos like to be in a controlled environment. We hate chaos. We hate uncontrolled settings, uncontrolled environments. We like to know who, where, when, what, and how. You feel me? That's just who we are. That's who we are. That's what we like. So you got to understand about him. And going back to the indecisive thing, like I said, he's got to take a long time to make a decision. And this is why, so let's apply this to like relationships and dating. I talk to a lot of people doing my private sessions about these topics, and I hear a lot of ladies tell me that sometimes I plan something with him, and I tell him to get back with me. He don't get back with me, or he don't tell me which one of these he want, or what day he want to go, or what day, so on and so forth. And they're like, why he so indecisive? Why this and why that? Why he can't make a decision? What's up, Carisha? They say that, and I'm like, man, I do that too. I do that a lot. So my response to that is, because he don't know. He trying to figure out what's the best option to do. He's trying to figure out how does that fit within him. What I'm saying? He think about it. It may sound selfish. I'm just saying how it is. Good or bad, right or wrong. This is what's going on. So you say we trying to decide where to go, what to do. Just say like y'all planning a good date or something like that, or time in the future. He may take a long time to do it because he's trying to figure out what he has going on during that time and why, what is it going to affect? Do he even feel like doing it? How long it's going to take? How long y'all going to be there? What's the setting like? Is he going to be happy there? These are the type of things that we think about. So it's less about you and more about what's going on around you in the environment. Also, he also thinking about, depending on what you're talking about doing, he's thinking about how does that affect y'all. For example, let's say it's Christmas time and you want him to come to your family to visit for Christmas. You're like, hey, Christmas coming up. I want you to come, we have dinner over here in my place, my family, da 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 da. I want you to come. Can you do it? He may hesitate. Or he may say yeah, but he may like, oh yeah. But he may hesitate to do it or to agree to it. He may tell you that he think about it, let me see what I'm doing. And he may end up not giving you a solid answer at all, or maybe up until that day of. This is why. because something like that is a big deal. We all know it's an understanding that Christmas time and families, when you bring somebody you're dating around, it's a big deal. It may not be a big deal for a woman. I think it is. But for guys, we know what it means. If I'm going around a woman's family for Christmas, they can be looking at me as, oh, this is the guy you're dating. This is the guy you're about to marry, which is cool. But if you fresh into the dating, and it's the first Christmas, you know, that's a lot of pressure for him. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just telling you what he's going through. It's a lot of pressure for him because now he got to answer questions to them. You know, he got to talk to them. He got to be in the setting. He don't know how long. You know, Virgos don't like these settings. They can do well, but and he also probably thinking about, man, I'm gonna be with our family. We're gonna be over there all day, all night, and it's gonna be rude if I'm saying I'm ready to go. Now everybody looking at me. What kind of guy is this? What kind of guy is this? Why is he so rude? You know, you don't want to do that. So we try not to put ourselves in these situations because it's scary. And you can use this with any introvert. If you're an introvert, and I know some introverts out there, imagine you just start dating a dude and you go into his house for Christmas, which is cool, but you don't know his family like that. I mean, you got to meet him at some point, but it's early. You don't know his family like that. It's Christmas. It's a big time. Now everybody looking at you, asking you questions. You know, he getting up, going to the bathroom. He getting up, playing with family. Now you sitting there by yourself with family and people that you don't know, and y'all kind of just started dating. So you don't really know how to answer these questions. Y'all getting married? What's going to be happening? Da, da, da. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. And you don't want to be there for all day. You know, maybe an hour or two. Let's get up out of here. You know, these are the things that he's thinking because Virgos are introverted. So he may not answer you. He may not make a decision. One, he probably want to say, no, I don't want to go. But that sounds bad. You know what I'm saying? That sounds bad. You know, because now you're gonna start thinking like, oh, so you want to be around me and my family? You don't want to spend Christmas with me? What kind of man doesn't want to spend Christmas with a girl he's dating? It's not that. It's everything surrounding that. So, ladies, when you're talking to guys, Virgos, and you want him to do these things, just think about what does these things mean to him, and if he will be comfortable, right? Imagine this. Imagine that he's taking you somewhere that you're unfamiliar with. It might be a lot of guys there or something like that. A lot of guys you don't know. They may be his guys, which is cool, but you don't know them guys, you know. And you can go for a little while, but you don't want to stay too long because you don't know these guys. You're uncomfortable. They might be looking at you. You know how guys be doing. You know, you don't want to be in an environment that you're unfamiliar with too long as a lady. You know, because if he get up and go to the restroom or something, you know, something like that, you kind of exposed. You're like, oh, okay. When is he coming back? The same thing. So the solution is to talk about this stuff. Like, you know, are you comfortable? I want give him out. I want you to come to my Christmas time with my family. I know it's early. I know we just kind of started dating. I would like you to be there. Do you want to be there? Are you comfortable with coming? Can you come? You know, and let him know. Like, if you don't come, it's okay. I want you to be there, but it's okay. Just ask him how you feel, so you won't end up being disappointed. That's what I mean. You know, especially if it's early. So any setting like that is kind of make him feel a way, just because these guys are super, super, super introverted and they have social anxiety. And so these things cause him to be very indecisive when it comes to things like that. You know, you say, hey, you in DMV, Maryland area? You see, he pulled back and got turned off because of him being insensitive. Oh, insensitive, that's a big thing too. Bite out more than he can chew. These 2 days didn't let me know he couldn't make it. Yeah, that's bad. Now, see, somebody doing, Virgo doing that, if he being insensitive and not, if he just missing dates and stuff like that, to me, that's more of a bad behavior type of thing. That's more of somebody who's accustomed to just doing the wrong thing, accustomed to being any kind of way with the women, and they never fix the problem. You know, usually they need to communicate and say, "Oh, I can't make it" or something like that. But yeah, indecisiveness is a big thing. Like I said, they be indecisive because they have all these pressures and they just want to make the right decision. And a lot of times, when you ask Virgo stuff as a woman, it's something you may want him to do or be somewhere. I think he most likely probably thinking about how it makes him feel, like I just explained with the Christmas thing, how it make him feel in the environment and how long he's gonna be there. We think about this stuff all the time. I ain't gonna lie, I hate going around women's family and this and that. It ain't got nothing to do with her or her family. I just don't like being around people. It's very hard for a Virgo to exist in relationships sometimes. Not all of them are not like this. Some of them love it, you know. And he'll get used to it. He'll warm up to it. But because they are loners and they're introverted, it takes them longer than most people to get comfortable. Sometimes they may not ever really get comfortable. But knowing this about him, you know, protect him a little bit, give him an out. You know, if y'all going around your family, y'all be around friends and this and that, just people he unfamiliar with, know that he's like this, and have a time limit on what y'all do. This will help him be more comfortable with your family, your friends, and different stuff that you like to do. Because you gotta understand, men in general don't like doing these things, ladies. They're not gonna tell you this, but men don't like going around your family like that. We don't. And I ain't gonna say all men, you know, because it's not all men, you know, because some men love it. You know, it's not like torture. Sometimes it feels like that sometimes, but it's like you got to be there, you got to perform, and you got to do all this stuff. You got to be in this environment for you don't know how long, but you know, just warm them up to it. So when y'all do that and do the thing that you like to do, just know that he is who he is, and have a time limit on the things that y'all do. If you're going around your family, it's a big holiday or something. I know you can't really put a time limit on stuff like that, but just be mindful that he is here and this dude is an introvert. He can't say I'm ready to go because it's gonna look bad to everybody. You know, it's a rule. It's just like the unspoken thing. You don't do that. It's like an unwritten rule. You know, so better yet, you know, like you know what, y'all, we had fun. We about to go. You know, he got stuff to get to. Da 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 da. Help him do that. That way, when y'all have to do things again, he knows that you got him. You don't have to, you know, overperform and things like that. So yeah, it'll ease his mind a little bit. Yeah, these guys are very indecisive. They'll work through it as they get more comfortable with you. And I'm talking about indecisive, which is everything, you know. Cause they overthinking. They overthinking and they contemplating. They going back and forth in their minds and everything all the time. And it's horrible sometimes, you know. Sometimes it takes them forever to make a decision, you know. But on the flip side, when we do things, we do it well, you know, and that's true. We do things very well when we execute. You know, we're a good decision measure. It takes us a long time. We measure twice and cut once. Sometimes we measure 3 and 4 times and cut once. Again, like I said, Virgos are the ones that we got to make a decision. We have these calculations going over in our mind, you know, like across the screen and stuff like that. It's just like we got data running. Okay, we computing. You know, that's what's happening. So next thing I want to talk about is um, Virgo men. They want to know everything about you. So y'all understand Virgos are nosy anyway. These guys and the women are too. Virgo men are very inquisitive. They're very intuitive. So anything that's coming into their force field, their aura, their space, their energy, they want to know what this is about. Who is this person? Just like if you're going to the White House or to a government building, you gotta give your ID, this and that. Sometimes you gotta register, you gotta put your name down, all this stuff. Even let's take it down a notch. Even if you want to adopt a dog, or you want to go to the what you call the dog place, the pound, I don't know. You go to the adoption agency for a dog, right? And you want to just go look at them. You got to give these people your name, your ID, your email, your purpose for being there. You got to do that when you go to just look at a dog. Even if you just want to look at it. You know, you want to go to the White House, you want to go to a government building, you got to give them your ID. They got to know who you are. A lot of times they want to know your background. If you're applying for like an apartment or you're trying to get a job, they want to know your background. How long were you at your last apartment? What happened? Why did you leave this job? How long was you there? You know, this is how Virgo men are when they dating people, because things that come into their space matters to them. You know, now they are men. Men love women. Men love women. That's beautiful. In shape, that's who men are at our core, right? That's who we are. You know, so physical beauty does matter. That's the initial. But after that, you know, if y'all like decide to do something together, he can want to know, okay, who is this woman? I need to know everything about her. Yeah, she's pretty. She smell good. She got nice feet. You know what I'm saying? But that don't matter because things are getting a little serious, and I need to know what she about. Because Virgos, we are investigative. We like to get deep into your psyche. We like to get deep into your history, right? It's important. Just like I said, you want to apply for a certain job. Certain y'all know certain jobs they give you these the questionnaire, these assessments. You know, if you was in this situation, what would you do? You know, if Billy Bob asks you that he tells you he can't find things on file and on aisle 5, but you know it's there and you don't feel like going, what would you do? That, you know, just random stuff. Jobs actually different questionnaires and different scenarios to get into your mindset to see where your heart really acts. And this is how Virgos do. They ask questions, they test you a little bit to really see where your heart is really at. Because it matters in the long stretch. Just like a job, you get this job, yeah, you got the job now. But when things come up, because things do come up, how are you going to behave? How are you going to respond? Because we can't have nobody losing their mind when things happen. We got to put trust in you to hold it down when things go awry, because things will go awry because it's life. We got to put trust in you that you're not going to freak out and make us look bad on this job. If somebody get an attitude with you, how are you going to handle it? You going to cuss them out, flip stuff over, or you going to be a professional? It matters. If you can't be a professional, then you can go, or you don't need to work here. That's how jobs do. They don't care. You know, likewise, Virgos want to know, you know, your history, physical history, sexual history, mental history, all kinds of stuff, education, you know, family. Y'all heard me talk about this before. Like, I be asking women everything. You know, when I'm real interested in them, we start to talk. I want to know. I want to know where you're from. You know, I want to know where your family from. You know, where y'all born here, where y'all born there, who moved, how y'all end up where y'all are. If you, I'm just throwing out a random city. Oh, you from Augusta? Are your people from Augusta? Okay. You was born in Augusta? Okay. So where your daddy from? Where he from? Oh, he was always there. All right. Your mom, where she from? Oh, she not really from Augusta. Where she moved from? You know, I need to know what your influences are. You know, who's influencing you? What's your upbringing? What were they saying in the house? I need to know. Because when we get together, we get down a stretch and things start to happen. I need to know how you're going to treat me. I need to know what it looks like for me. You know, I need to know how it's going to feel. You know, so this is important. So Virgo want to know everything about you. So after a while, they're going to start asking you questions, personal questions. They're going to want to know. And because they're not easily convinced about anybody. Virgos are always on edge. They are always suspicious of everybody. It don't matter who it is. So don't take it personal. They're suspicious of everybody, you know. And they just want to know. If a woman comes to my life, I be want to know what's good. I mean, I meet a lot of pretty women. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's good. I like, you know, what's cool. We talking, okay, a conversation. That's fine. You know. But after that, I be like in my mind, I'm like, who sent you? You know what I'm saying? For real, because I'm like, you know, who sent you, man? What's good? What do you see? You know, what's your motive here? I don't know. I can't help it. Cause I really want to know. You know, because people crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know, people surprise you every day, and this is how Virgos are. They just very guarded and selective like that, and this is why they take them so long to really settle down and get with a woman. You know, they got to see you in different areas, different action. I'm telling you, they want to know your influences in life, things that you've been a part of, different organizations that you've been a part of, why were you a part of it, how you felt, you know, why did you lead the organization, whatever it may be, the type of foods that you like, you know, how you feel about men, how you feel about this, how you feel about that. I mean, dating Virgo is like dating, you going on an interview, you know, you go on a date with a Virgo, you really going on an interview, and that's really for everybody. You going on an interview, you know, y'all gonna have fun. Don't get it twisted. Virgos know how to have fun. Y'all gonna enjoy yourselves. But when things really get, you know, serious conversations really start to take place, he gonna want to know what's good. Because you gotta understand that Virgos love an intelligent woman, and they can't have nothing less than that. And it's not necessarily all about like degrees and stuff like that. But they need to know you're intelligent up here. Like, you know, you know how y'all hear people talk about men don't care about your degrees and this and that, and we don't. However, Well, Virgo, we do like an educated woman. You know, what we don't like is the, I guess, say the mindset that comes with education and accolades and things like that. But we love an intelligent woman. Cause I hear a lot of women say that, oh, men just so intimidated by a smart woman or a woman who got her own. We're not. We love a woman who has her own. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, look, men love a woman who has her own, who has accolades. We do. We love it. We just don't like the attitude that comes with it. Because a lot of times when women get stuff, they, I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say sometimes what I've seen, sometimes women attain stuff, which is great, but then when they attain certain things, uh, they put that over the man, right? And say something because I have this and I have that, you're not worth it. Date me, I don't like it, or whatever the case may be. I'm so and so, I'm so and so. And men are not necessarily attracted to that. They are attracted to your accolades and things that you have going on, but that's not the first thing. That's is a bonus. You know, the first thing they're gonna be attracted is just how you look and how you take care of yourself. Are you feminine? Are you beautiful? Are you nice? Those are the first things. Then they're gonna want to know your personality. You know, how you behave yourself, how you go about yourself, and then we're gonna know the things you're involved with. You know, where you've been in school, you haven't been in school, and then the accolades and stuff like that. And then that's just a bonus. Oh, you better get your doctorate. Oh, okay, cool. You know, you got your MBA. Oh, that's dope. How was that? You know, it's like that. You know, it just make you more. It does make you more attractive, and it's a great thing, and we salute that. But we don't care if you have it or not. You know what I'm saying? We don't. But it does. It does and doesn't matter. You know, I hope I'm not sound too confusing. But anyway, when it comes to Virgo, we do like that because we do love a smart and intelligent woman. We love a woman who's about her business because that means when we get together, we all gonna be about our business. And we love these things because you know, I hear people moving around outside my apartment trying to figure out what it was. But yeah, we do love these things. But you gotta understand that I'm getting messages. You just gotta understand that look for a woman that's whole and things like that. So yeah, so you be about your business, but just when ladies, just any man that you date, you know, go after what you want, get your get your degrees and stuff, get your certification and get your money. But you know, just when it comes to men, just make sure that you don't put that before a man. All right. And some women will say, we tired of women have to dumb down ourselves for men. You don't have to dumb down yourself for men. But what you are doing, you putting material things before in the front. And you want men to be attracted to that. And men are not attracted to that. That's not what men want. You know, you can move that out of the way. It's great, it's beautiful, but you can move that out of the way. We don't care about that. You know, and a lot of times women lead with that. Just like women, you can tell when a man is trying to lead with his money, right? And then it gets twisted. Most women want a man who has money. That's just what it is. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's how women are built because they want to provide. But you can tell when a man is leading with his money, like, baby, I got this, I got that, I drive this, I drive that. He want you to be attracted to his money, and he trying to overcompensate for the lack of something else. It's like, okay, cool, you got money, but you ain't about to buy me. You know what I'm saying? So you see how it feels when somebody try to lead with something else, and you're like, okay, you got money, great. What's next? Do you know how to treat me? You know, because you got money, do you think I'm gonna just do every single thing you say? You know, okay, you got money, you got this, you got that, but how do you view me? How do you treat your mother? You know, so how do you treat women? How do you view women? You know, what do you expect from a woman? See, this is what I mean when I say somebody's leading with something. So you don't lead with your education. You don't lead with your degrees and stuff like that. Just lead with your personality. Lead with the type of woman. Lead with your femininity, and everything else will fall in place. When you lead with your femininity and just lead with your personality, and then he find out all this great stuff you also have, he'll be blown away. You know, he can be like, yo, she's beautiful. Her personality is nice, and she got an MBA, and you know, she got this and that, and she a doctor, and she a nurse, and she this, and she got her own business, and she, you know, that's how it goes. But no man ever looked at a woman and said, she a doctor, she fine. We don't do that. You know, that's just a tidbit so you can know just how men think. But like I said, we appreciate those things because that means if we get together, we have a family, we got more stuff coming into the pot. You know what I'm saying? We got more here. We covered, and it lets me know your intelligence. You know, so I just want to say that I hear a lot of women say that and they kind of get it confused, and I just want to clear the confusion of because I do a lot of women do feel slighted when they hear men say this, you know, and yeah, they feel slighted, you know. So you're not trying to take away from that at all. Let's use I talked about this a few weeks ago when it happened, like Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens situation. You know, I thought that was very interesting. I got no light on it. I'm trying to maybe turn it up a little bit because the sun is going down. I thought that situation was am I too bright? I thought that situation was very interesting because, you know, dudes that he the prize and this and that, and you know, women were flipping tables over that comment. I was surprised. I was like, yo, I didn't know that meant that much to y'all, but I get it. You know, because a lot of times women are accustomed to be saying they the prize and they catch they the prize, all the good stuff, and that's what they came up with. You know, but nowadays a lot of things are changing from how we traditionally grew up. I grew up very traditional, but we living in a non-traditional world, man. And it's like nowadays a lot of anything goes. But her husband, he's a very successful guy. You know, he's a millionaire, multi-millionaire. NFL player. Of course, she is world-renowned Olympian champion. Well, how many medals she got? Like 13 gold medals. The sister is bad. You know what I'm saying? The sister got it going on. But what I noticed in that, she didn't lead with her accomplishments, right? When she pursued him, when she got with him, her husband, of course, his accomplishment can't even hold a candle to her accomplishment. This girl is 5-time, 13-time gold medalist. Nobody, she's one of one. And that's the truth. She's one of one. And she is who she is. However, with her being who she is in dating, she never once led with her accomplishment. She didn't go into dating saying, I'm Simone Biles, 13-time gold medalist. No, she was just like, look, I'm Simone Biles. This is what I do. I'm a gymnast, you know what I'm saying? This is what I want, this is what I'm looking for. That's all she did. And that's a beautiful thing. Now, if anybody can boast, she can boast. She got every right to say, hey, look, I'm Simone Biles. I only want the best of the best, baby. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm a 13-time gold medalist. I don't know how many gold medals she got, but she got a lot, But she could have done that, but she didn't do that. And I thought that was very interesting, but a lot of women didn't like it. A lot of women didn't like it. He said he the prize, he the catch. I think they both the catch. If you want to, I did a video about it, but if you want to ask me, I think they both the prize, both the catch. Because they both getting something great that they want. They two young people. They both in the same sport. They both multi-millionaires, and they both understand each other's career field. He support her during her time in the Olympics. She support him when he's playing a game. Every NFL game, she be on the sidelines. And every time she goes to do her thing for the Olympics and training, he's there. So from what I can see, neither one of them really leading with their accomplishment and this and that. But the brother is a confident brother. He is in like the one, maybe it's 1%, but I would say let's say 10%. He's in the top 10% of men. He's a black man, he's a millionaire, multi-millionaire. He's in the NFL. NFL is not easy to get into. Now, he's not the best player in the NFL, but he all right. He started every game. It's a lot to get in, and he went undrafted. And it's hard to go undrafted into the NFL and become a starter on a good team. Just the Green Bay Packers, they're a good team. So I'm thinking she's seen that he's a hard worker. To me, that's even more. You have to have a lot of confidence to do that in the NFL. So if y'all don't know, most you want to get drafted into the NFL because that means you the best of the best of the best, and a team pick you. And also, if you're a draft pick, you're guaranteed a certain contract. But if you're undrafted, that means you played well on a college team, but no team picked you. So you enter into the NFL as a free agent, meaning, hey, whatever team wants me, I'll come sign with you for whatever. So you gotta go try out. Everybody gotta try out. But if you undrafted, you got a long road ahead of you, right? So you go undrafted and you actually make a team, right? You at the bottom of the barrel. You at the bottom of the list. You own a team, but you're at the bottom. So you got to work your way up you got to beat somebody out who's been drafted to get a starting position, and then you get a good contract and this and that. And he did that. He worked his way up. He got a contract. He started. If my honest, I could be wrong, but I think he started every game this year. Even when they was in the playoffs, he played well, and he's a multi-millionaire. So that shows hard work. That shows determination, and that's what you want in a man. That a man that's not gonna give up even when it's hard. Because he could have easily gave up and said, man, no team drafted me. My career's over. Nah, he's like, you know what? Let's go. And you need that because life happens. But anyway, I think they have a beautiful relationship. I love what they got going on. But I just wanted to highlight that to show you that Simone Biles, she did not lead with her accomplishments. She led with her femininity and her personality. But anyway, getting back to what we're talking about. Virgos want to know everything about you. So you dating a Virgo, you get interested in a Virgo. Eventually, he's gonna ask you a lot of questions. He's gonna get deep into that history. He want to know your sexual history. Hey, I'm not gonna say you're obligated to tell him or not, but he gonna want to know. In my opinion, it's important. And not just women. I think everybody's sexual history is important. If you're getting serious with a person, you need to know their sexual history. Some people will agree with that. Some people don't agree with that. I ain't got no beef on no side, but I understand this is like a tense topic. It's like a sensitive topic. But usually women want a man with a secure future. Usually, men want a woman with a clean past. It's just how we are wired. It's not good or bad, right or wrong. It's just how we're wired. I'm gonna say it one more time. Usually, women want a man with a secure future because that means he got a secure future. I got a secure future. Our kids got a secure future. Men usually want a woman with a clean past. Really, because now she's clean, she's good, she's free. I don't got to worry about anything of her past, trauma, old boyfriend, this and that, all the stuff that come with it. That's just how we wired. You know what I'm saying? So we look for different things in the opposite sex. But when it comes to this topic, Virgos really do. They want to know. They want to know like sexual past. Maybe not like details and graphic details, but it is important. But I do think that conversation happens at a certain time. You don't meet every guy and just thought, hey, well, I did this, I did that. It matters and it doesn't matter. I think I talked about this before. Like I dated a woman one time. She had a horrible sexual past, and before dating her, I told myself I would never date a woman who had a certain amount of sexual partners. Because for me, in my experience, when I dated a woman who had a lot of sexual partners, she's usually not healed. She usually has some trauma in there. She usually has some drama. She have a lot of unhealed things inside of her, and it comes out in relationships. And her viewpoint is her view is skewed. Usually, that's just my experience. I'm not gonna say it's all women, but in my experience, that's what I experienced. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna do that again because I know what comes with it. Because some of the women you just can't get through. They're more emotional. They cry a lot. Women cry anyway, but it's certain things they just don't. They don't go. It's hard for them to love. Some of them. But anyway, so I still dated a woman who had a horrible sexual past. We had a conversation, me and her, in the beginning stages of us dating. I told her this is who I am, this is what I'm trying to do in life. And she was straight up telling me about who she was and her past and this and that. And I admired the fact that she was upfront with who she was. And that's why I decided to date her. Because she was upfront with it. She was like, look, this is what I've been through, this is who I am. I'm not that way anymore. This is what I'm trying to do now in life, and so on and so forth. I respected it. Even though I said I would never date a woman like that. And I was dead serious. And I really was not about to date her. I was about to tell like, you know what, I'm good. Because I was horrified. I was like, goodness gracious, you did all that, you know what I'm saying? But she was a cool chick, you know what I'm saying? She was very nice, keep herself together. She's blue eyed. You know what I'm saying? But still, eventually though, my suspicions were true. My reasonings for not dating a woman like that were true. Because eventually, when we got really serious and in love and all that stuff, her sexual past began to come back and haunt her. And it began to haunt her in ways where she wasn't healed, or she would blame me for stuff I didn't do, or her viewpoint was skewed because she viewed sex as love. Now, sex can be love in the right context, but sex doesn't equal love all the time. Just because a man is having sex with you doesn't mean he loves you, and she couldn't understand that. You know, so if a man didn't have sex with her, she thought they didn't love her, all kinds of stuff. You know, it also caused her not to love past a certain point. It was a lot of things, and we had to sit down and talk about it. And I was like, yo, I think your sexual past is causing problems. You know, cause like how did you take the time to heal from those things? Cause let's be real, our bodies, love, sex, energy is real. Just as our bodies are physically here, that stuff is too. And if you haven't healed from those things, soul ties are real, energy ties are real. And when the Bible says the two become one, when they marry and all that other stuff, sex brings you closer physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. It just does. You know, yeah, there are people out there who can just do it and just go about their business. But I believe it still affects them a certain way, because women are receivers, right? I'm not saying it don't affect men, because it does affect men, but it affects men in different ways. So some women will say, well, you can't say that about a woman, not say it about a man. I can, because they are different, right? So the way it affects a woman is not going to be the way it affects a man. That's just what it is, right? That's just biology, you know. Don't get it wrong. Men having a whole lot of sexual partners affect them too, but men are not the receivers. Men are the givers, right? If something's going into you, it's a big difference if you putting something into somebody else, right? Yeah, y'all follow me. And I'm telling you, it's not to like down women or bash women, but just so you can understand of what we doing out here and how it affects us. So, you know, I would tell her, if I had a daughter, I would tell her this. I'm like, you gotta be careful, because, you know, you're receiving the different energies from men. You don't know what these men been. You don't know what kind of trauma he got in his life. You don't know what kind of trauma he not healed from. You know, a lot of these men out here are very unhealed. You know, they may not look like it, but you can't tell everything by looking at somebody, right? So a lot of things don't come out until you're down the road. It's like buying a car. Sometimes you can't tell if a car good or not just by looking at it. On the lot, everything looks good on the lot. It's shining, you know what I'm saying? It's detailed. You know, you all happy, oh, I'm buying this car. You buy it, you start getting down the road, it start shaking, and you break down. Because you didn't investigate. You didn't look through it. You didn't take it on a test drive. You didn't inspect the car. You didn't get the Carfax. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking about women right now, but it really goes for everybody. You know, so but anyway, ladies, you are the receivers. You know, so men putting stuff in you, and you got to be careful, because these men, they have energies too, and because women are women are the natural healers and nurturers of the earth. Women bring forth life. Women heal. Women multiply. This is what women do. Women are the plants of the earth. You know, so you have to put things into the soil. You put the seed into there, right? And what you put in there it's important. If when you are the soil, okay, but that seed also has to be right. If you put a bad seed into good soil, it's gonna mess that soil up. So it has to be right on both sides, right? But because men are not the receivers, it affects us differently. We can kind of shake it off. It more so affect us maybe mentally and spiritually, you know, and our drive, right? If men, all these women and stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily affect us emotionally unless it's one particular woman. That's the only way it affects us emotionally, if it's one particular woman. But usually, and maybe in a whole lot of women, it don't affect us like that. It most affect us mentally and physically because we have to control ourselves because men, a man's greatest challenge is self-discipline. So the more women he be with, the more women he gonna want because it's feeding his urge to have sex and stuff like that. Because men love women. Men, we naturally love women. We naturally like men with women. We naturally love women, and we wired like that. So we're the givers. We put it out there and we go. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not disciplined as a man, then you will get attached to every woman in a certain way, and you're gonna want it and want it and want it. And this is why you see men becoming like angry at certain women, and if she don't give him sex and stuff like that, because he tied to her through the physical first, through the visual, through the physical. Now he also got them soul ties. You know, he got them soul ties. He wanted his ego is feeding his ego, that testosterone. He gotta have it. That's how men are. So it affects us in different ways. Like women are the receivers. She getting all that put into her spirit, to her physical body, to her energy. She taking all that in. So men don't take it in, right? We just get attached. We get attached here, we get attached there, we get attached over here. Y'all feel me? You know? And so really, everybody gotta be careful what you're doing out here. So if I had daughters, I would tell my daughters the same thing. You know? So this is why let's just say a person's sexual past matter. It does matter. Don't let nobody tell you no different. Because if you getting serious with a person, y'all need to have that tough conversation. And it's up to y'all to decide how you're gonna have it. You know, I mean, have it in a respectful way. Don't have it where somebody's like trying to down you, but just be an adult and talk about, hey, it's time we talk about this. You know, because down the road, I don't want to get down the road and it comes up and now we feeling that way. Now for some people don't care. For real, some people don't care, and that's fine. You know, some people don't care. It don't matter to some people, and I get it, and I respect it. You know, because everybody different. But I would say for a good majority of men, it does matter. I know it matters for a lot of Virgo men, but you know, when you get older though, when you get older in life, that becomes less and less important. I mean, it's important, but it becomes less and less because the older you get, you start to understand that people have lived life. You know, you get like mid upper 30s and beyond, you understand that hey, if you in your mid 30s and up, you know, people have lived life. People probably gonna have kids and stuff like that. So it's just life. But when you're younger, it's more to me. It's more important when you're younger, 20s, early 30s. You know, in my opinion, you know, you shouldn't have so much experience, you know, at a young age because it's skewing you. Because when you get with the person that you need to be with, and this for men and women, it messes you up. I would tell my son, if I had sons, I don't have no kids. If I had sons, I would tell them the same thing. Like, hey, you don't need to be out there trying to mess with every woman. Because it's skewing what you think a woman should do. It's skewing how you think a woman should be. When you get attached, now you're thinking this, now you're thinking that about a woman. You don't need to do that. I know what your urge says as a man, as a young man, I know. But you have to be disciplined. If you do everything that your urge says, you'll be messed up. We all be messed up. You know, most of us have an urge just to eat all day. You know what I'm saying? Eat all the sweets. But you have to discipline yourself because you know that ain't good for you. You know, same thing. It's really the same thing, but Yeah, so Virgo men are indecisive. I know I went all around the world, but y'all know I be going off sometime. You know, it matters. You say it matters, but you can't make them tell you how many. I don't think you should do that. Just watch the behavior. Yeah, yeah. You don't have to. You can't make nobody tell you how many people they been with. Like I said, it's a sensitive conversation. You know, so you gotta have it respectfully. You know, you gotta have it respectfully. If you getting really serious with somebody and y'all want to build a life and things like that, you gotta know the traumas that somebody's dealing with. You need to know somebody's trauma, sexual trauma, if they've been touched on, all that. It matters because I was dating a girl one time. Y'all know I got a lot of stories, and you know, I think she in her past, maybe her childhood, she was touched on or something like that, or it was something I can't remember exactly what it was. But I mean, I was like rubbing her shoulders, just playing with her, rubbing aggressively. She was tensing up. And I was like, "Yeah, what's wrong with you?" You know, and I noticed she used to do that every time. You know, and it was innocent. I was probably just like, "Yeah, what's up, girl?" You know, that's how good we do. And I was just my girl. I was hugging on her. You know what I'm saying? This and that. She tensing all up. I was like, "Hey, what's good?" I'm just showing love. So eventually she was like, you know, I was younger, you know, people trying to touch on me, all kind of stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean tell me that? I ain't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's important. You know, I don't want you to be feeling violated. It's important to know. So, like, ladies and everybody, really, if you serious about a guy and something happened to you in the past, it's important that you let this guy know. That look, I had some. You didn't gotta go in great detail until a certain point, but you like, look, I had some bad experiences in my past. I don't like to be touched a certain way. You know, I appreciate if if you don't touch me like that. Just let them know. You don't have to be, you don't have to like beat them over the head. Most men will respect that. You do have some men that won't respect it, but most men will. Most men, like, okay, I respect that. You know, it could be anything. Because he don't know what you've been through. I'm just making up stuff. Just say he go to rub your feet or something. You know what I'm saying? And you be like, oh, don't touch my feet, please, please, please. Now you know that in your past, somebody probably try to touch your feet or try to pull you over to them to be slick, and it just reminds you of that person that was trying to be slick, but he don't know that. He just think you being funny or something. He probably just wondering, man, she won't ever let me touch her. You need to let him know, hey brother, I know you like me, you want to touch me and stuff like that, but I had some bad experiences when come in that era when people touch me like that, and it just kind of takes me back. Just ask me or just let's talk about it. And just talk about it. Let him know what you're going through, so he can be aware. Because if men don't know, he don't know. Because men are gonna try. That's who men are. Now, when I say men are gonna try anyway, I'm not talking about force. I'm talking about just advances, because men try to advance themselves. This is what men do, respectfully. But you can also respectfully say, "Hey, nah, not yet," or this is who I am," or "This is how I like to be." Um, this is how I like men to advance themselves on me. I like it like this, and just let them know. You know what I'm saying? That's ladies. For most guys now, for most respectable guys, all you gotta do is just let them know how you like to be approached, sexually, physically, mentally. But we talking about sexually and physically. Now just let him know, so he won't just go do stuff, and now you feel disrespected, and now he thinking he don't know what he did. And now you looking at him as the same guys who just want it or whatever. I'm telling you, gotta let men that you're serious about, because they don't know. You may think it's all good, but anyway, um, you gotta understand. Cat said my Virgo guys, he asked about bipolar, hot and cold. It's exhausting. He blocked me again and he said he blocked you again and found and round, whatever. That's funny. Yeah, I made a video about Virgos being hot and cold and things like that. He said he blocked you again. Now Virgos do be in their feelings a lot. A lot of people don't know that, but Virgos are very sensitive. They get mad. Virgos get mad about stuff. Because while I say Virgo men are very intuitive, um, they are also very sensitive, and sometimes they read the room wrong, and they misread your actions. You know, because they're sensitive, they think you saying something else that you're not saying. You know, for example, I'm just making up based on true story examples. Just say he called you twice. You didn't pick up and you didn't call him back. But you was legit busy. Just so happened he called you, you was at work. You was at work all day. Second time he called you, you was with your family or doing something that's important you couldn't get to him, but you just didn't call him back. For whatever reason, you got busy, sleeping, whatever. Innocent. He may take that as, oh, she don't like me. I'm falling back. That's what I mean. You know what I'm saying? And now, usually though, when you call him, when he calls you, you do pick up. So this is very uncharacteristic of you, but you know he's taking it as, oh, okay, she don't like me, so I'm falling back. That's what I mean by Virgos be sensitive and they take things the wrong way. But you legit just got caught up. It happens. It happens. It's life. You know, it happens. But Virgos can be very sensitive, y'all. You know, he said you were too sensitive. Yeah, now women do be sensitive. Virgos are sensitive. Virgos are sensitive in different ways because they put their heart and soul into a lot of stuff, and they, you know, they want to be recognized for what they do, not necessarily praised, but just recognized. You know, and because they put their all into everything, they hate when they feel like somebody's talking about it or downing them or misjudging their character. Virgos hate somebody misjudging their character, they'll go off. Virgo's tongue can be very vicious, man. You know, for real. It's crazy out there. I'm trying to see something in the comment. You say, yo, Tina said her supervisor is a Virgo. You said, you shot your shot months ago and it seemed to me he's not injured, so I left it alone. Sometimes he's saying mixed signals. Tina. Yeah, I can see that. You know, it's hard to tell about Virgo sometimes. You know, well, he probably like it though. I mean, he probably does like it, but they do send on mixed signals, and it's hard to tell what's really going on. Well, I ask you again, be direct with him. You know, but yeah. Anyway, I'm wrapping up. But Virgos are sensitive people, and they want to know everything about you. So you gotta be front. And Virgos, they will find out. They nosy. They will find out information about you because they want to know who they're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to be dealing with the wrong person. They don't want to be caught up in that. They don't want no surprise. Virgos hate surprises. You know, don't surprise a Virgo with nothing. You know what I'm saying? They hate surprises, man. You say Virgos should stay away from negative and evil people that hurt them and disrespect them. They want a happy life. But a lot of Virgos are naive and big egos. Well, I don't say they have big egos. Now, some of them can be naive. I would say ego would be confidence. I would say Virgos are very confident people. I'm a very confident person. And I mean, I guess we all have an ego to some point or to some degree. But we are very confident, though. We are confident in the things that we do. We are very, very confident. Like Virgos are very sure of themselves. They're not necessarily the one that boast a lot. Like for example, Virgos that we know. Idris Elba, I think I'm saying his name right. Beyonce, Michael Jackson. Who else? Just those few right there. Now those are very confident people. But I don't think they do have egos, but they're not walking around every day saying I'm this, I'm that. They let their work speak for itself, and they just walk in that. They very sure of themselves. They very sure. They will speak on it. They would be matter of fact about, look, this note ain't right. This is what it should be. This is what it is. No, that's wrong. It ain't supposed to be like that. Do this note like that. Put this right there. Look at Idris Elba. He's successful in everything that he does, but you don't see him like boasting and having an ego. But you talk to him, he's like, yeah. Because one interview he said, he said, yeah, I'm aware of how women feel about me. Now some people can call that egotistical or arrogant, but now he's like, look, I know the effect that I gave off. You know, but I'm not gonna say all of them. Of course, you want to have some that have egos, like big egos. But I think it's just more confidence, sure of themselves. Cause I know I'm very, very sure of myself. And the things that I know well. You know, and I will fight to the teeth, to death about it. You know what I'm saying? Like things that I know. I'm telling y'all, I'm speaking on it. When I start talking about like black people and racism and black culture and stuff like that, you know, y'all know I be going off. You know what I'm saying? Cause I be like, look, this is what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? He said Virgo wants to get to know you, but didn't ask questions. Just silent observing situations. Yeah, sunset. That's funny because Virgos do that. And a lot of Virgos are shy and they're shy, right? Or they're not accustomed to like going directly at women. A lot of them. And so what they try to do, they try to put themselves in your space, in your orbit, so you can see them. But because they like you a lot, they stare at you. I talked about in the video about how Virgos stare real bad. They stare at you because now you're fascinating to them. You can't get their minds off it. They don't know what to say to you. They trying, but they don't know what to do. So rather than telling you that they like you, they be staring at you. They try to be around you. They try to make sure you see them. They might start doing things for you. They might try to ask you, do you need anything that they know you don't need? You know what I'm saying? Just say you're in an office building or something like that. You got a piece of paper on your desk. Oh, you want to throw that paper away for you? No. No. He might say, do you need me to throw that paper away for you? No, you don't need him to throw that piece of paper away for you. You got a trash can right there. But because he like you, he see it. He trying to do something to get your attention, but do it. He trying to do it on the low. Do it in a sly way. You know what I mean? Virgos love to be slick about how they like you. You know, they try to be slick about it. So just pay attention. You know, they do little things like that. I'm saying they got to be in your orbit. You got to make sure you see them. Now, if you're around him a lot, he like you. He wants you like him. I think he will probably start doing things so you can see. Especially if he's in a position of power, he's gonna start doing things so you can see his power. Now that I would say he'll start to flex a little bit. I mean, Virgos know when to flex. Y'all know I told a story about that one time. I liked this girl in college. You know, we was on a marching band. I was a drum major, and you know, people was coming in late. And you know, the people who come to band practice late, we supposed to give them push-ups and this and that. So two of my homeboys was late on this particular day, right? And I didn't give them no push-ups. I was like they talking to them. We was like they talking. You know, shooting the breeze. But the girl I saw her walking up. And I saw her work up. So I wanted to flex. I was like, oh, I gotta flex. So my homeboy, I told her, man, y'all get down and do some push-ups, man. Y'all don't supposed to, I started flushing out. Y'all don't supposed to be late. Da da da. Y'all gotta be on time, man. Don't let this happen again, man. Da da da. You know, and she walked by, she was smirking at me like, okay, he got power. I see you. You know. She went inside. I was like, all right, man, y'all get up, man. My bad, brothers. I had to do it, man. She was like, man, get out of the way, man. We going in practice. You know, it's flex. You gotta flex. I had to impress her, man. You know what I'm saying? She was cute. Yeah, I had to do something, but I didn't tell her. She knew I liked her though. But you know, she was late. So because somebody be like, why you didn't get her push up? There are certain people that could be late because they had like honors classes and stuff. Because brand practice started at like 6:30, so some people classes didn't end till like 7. You know, things like that. So those people had an excuse, academic, you know, stuff like that. So she was already pre-approved. She's a smart chick too. She was in the honors college. But anyway, yeah, I was flexing. I had to flex on them, boy. Like, hey man, come on, man. Yeah, I got y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? It's on me next time. You know? But yeah, so Virgos, when they like you, they'll do that. They'll put themselves around you, just do stuff, flex their muscles a little bit, flex their power. But most men do that. You know, a man see a pretty woman, especially if he working out, he gonna start pumping. You know, it's just what men do. But Virgos do it extra. You know. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. The sun done went down. You said a woman with a lot of sexual partners. Her heart belongs to her husband, but her body belongs to other men. Hey, her body belongs to other men. That's a good point. I kind of talked about that. I think before I go, I think that's kind of what I was alluding to. Men want to know if you have a lot of sexual partners, do your body really belongs to them? How do you feel about it? Are you over that? You know, stuff like that. But we'll do a whole video on that at a time. What's up, Nardo? Yeah, y'all like, share, subscribe. You need a private session. You know what to do. Hit the link in the description after the video is over to talk to me about your situation, all that good stuff. Hey, follow me on Instagram, y'all. Same name as my YouTube channel, J Whitfield Inspires. I'm on Instagram. I'm finally on TikTok. Yes, indeed. I said I will never get on TikTok, but my same name, J Whitfield Inspires, on Instagram and TikTok. You know what? Let me say with TikTok. I just got on TikTok. You know how they do it on Friday After Next, the movie? I know I was the one to say I will never leave Instagram. I know I was the one to say I'll never get on TikTok because it's childish. I know I said those things. But when I seen them making money, when I seen them getting them followers, I was gone. I was out of there. Just like on that Friday, you know, he said, he's like, I know I said I was the one to not leave the hood. I know I said I was the one that I'm gonna get a little money and leave the hood. But as soon as I got my check, I was gone. You know what I'm saying? It's funny. But anyway, y'all, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, like, share, and subscribe, and we will holla at your boy. You.